Have you ever jolted awake at 2 in the morning, staring at the dark ceiling, feeling that familiar, heavy pressure in your lower abdomen? You drag yourself out of a warm bed, carefully navigating the quiet hallway so you do not wake your spouse, only to return and find that sleep has completely abandoned you. If this sounds like your nightly routine, I want you to know that you are not alone. And more importantly, it is not just an inevitable part of getting older. For a long time, the medical community, and frankly, even myself in my early years of practice, accepted that waking up multiple times a night to use the bathroom was just a normal tax we pay for aging. But after watching thousands of exhausted men and women walk through my clinic doors, their eyes heavy with fatigue, I knew there had to be a better way. They were losing their independence, their energy, and their joy, all because of an overactive bladder at night. I am here to tell you that the mainstream advice of simply drinking less water is not only outdated, but it might actually be making your problem worse. In the next 15 minutes, I am going to share a completely different approach. We are going to explore a groundbreaking perspective backed by recent studies from Johns Hopkins University and the Mayo Clinic. I will reveal 3 specific zero-cost hydration habits that do not just mask the symptoms but support your body's natural nighttime biology. By the end of this video, you will have a clear step-by-step blueprint to reclaim your uninterrupted sleep and wake up feeling truly refreshed. Before we dive into this life-changing information, if you are tired of being held hostage by your bladder and want to join a community dedicated to natural, vibrant aging, please take a quick second to click the subscribe button and ring the notification bell. Give this video a thumbs up if you are ready for a full night of sleep, and leave a comment below telling me how many times you usually wake up each night. Your story might just help someone else realize they are not alone. Let me tell you about Arthur. Arthur is a 72-year-old retired architect from Boston. When he first came to see me, he was at his breaking point. He was waking up 4, sometimes 5 times a night. He felt like a zombie during the day, unable to enjoy his time with his grandchildren. His doctor had prescribed a standard medication, but it left him with a terribly dry mouth and dizzy spells, which made him terrified of falling in the middle of the night. He thought his body was simply failing him. But when we took a closer look at Arthur's daily routine, we uncovered something astonishing. It was not his prostate or a failing bladder that was the main culprit. It was a hidden pattern in how and when he consumed liquids and minerals throughout his day. You see, Arthur was following the common advice to drink 8 glasses of water a day, but he was cramming most of that hydration into the late afternoon and evening. He thought he was doing the right thing by staying hydrated before bed. What Arthur did not realize, and what many people do not know, is how our kidneys function as we pass our 50th birthday. When we are young, our brains produce a high amount of an antidiuretic hormone at night, which signals the kidneys to slow down urine production while we sleep. However, as we enter our golden years, the production of this crucial hormone naturally decreases. Your kidneys simply do not get the strong signal to rest. So, when you drink a large glass of water with dinner or sip on herbal tea while watching the evening news, your kidneys process that liquid exactly as they would at noon. They fill your bladder, and your brain forces you awake. The solution for Arthur was not another pill. It was a strategic shift in his hydration timing, a method I call the morning flush and evening taper. When Arthur implemented this simple change, the results were nothing short of a blessing. Within 2 weeks, he went from waking up 4 times to just once, and on many nights, he slept straight through until morning. The brain fog lifted, he regained his independence and his joy. And today, I am going to teach you exactly how to apply Arthur's strategy to your own life. Now, you might be thinking, if I do not drink water at night, will I not get terribly dehydrated? I completely understand that fear. Early in my career, I actually made the mistake of letting my older patients drink whenever they felt thirsty, fearing they would become dehydrated. But I watched them suffer through sleepless nights, their eyes dark and heavy the next morning. It broke my heart to see them lose their vitality. That is when I realized we were treating the symptom and ignoring the biology. The truth is, your body is incredibly smart. If you front-load your hydration, meaning you drink the vast majority of your daily water between the moment you wake up and 2 in the afternoon, your cells will absorb what they need. By the time evening rolls around, your body is fully hydrated and your kidneys can finally power down. You are not depriving yourself, you are simply working with your aging biology instead of fighting against it. But what if you are already doing this? What if you stop drinking water at 6 in the evening and still find yourself running to the bathroom at 3 in the morning? Let me introduce you to Eleanor. She is a 64-year-old former teacher from London. Eleanor was strict about her evening water cutoff. Yet she was still waking up 3 to 4 times a night. She sat in my office completely defeated and said she felt like her own body was betraying her. I have seen that exact look of frustration so many times. It is a terrible, isolating feeling. When we investigated her routine, we found the invisible thief stealing her sleep. It was not water at all, it was hidden sodium. Eleanor loved having a warm bowl of canned soup or some cured meats for her evening meal. According to comprehensive data from the European Association of Urology, high sodium intake in the evening acts like a sponge in your bloodstream. It pulls water out of your cells and forces your kidneys to work overtime to flush out the excess salt. Even if you do not drink a drop of water, that hidden salt will fill your bladder. When Eleanor simply swapped her processed evening meals for fresh, low-sodium alternatives, her nighttime waking dropped to 0. She got her life back simply by changing how she seasoned her dinner. There is another biological trap that almost no one talks about, and it has to do with simple gravity. Have you ever taken off your socks at the end of the day and noticed deep indentations on your ankles? That swelling is called peripheral edema. As we get older, our circulation becomes a bit sluggish. Throughout the day, as you sit or stand, gravity pulls fluid down into your lower legs. It pools there, quietly waiting. Here is where the disaster happens. The moment you lie flat in your bed at night, gravity is no longer holding that fluid down. All of that trapped liquid suddenly rushes back into your bloodstream. Your heart pumps it straight to your kidneys. Your kidneys perceive this sudden wave of fluid as an emergency overload and immediately start filtering it into your bladder. 2 hours after you fall asleep, you are forced awake with a tremendous urge to pee. I learned this the hard way after watching countless patients fail with standard advice. The breakthrough came when I started looking at vascular studies from Harvard Medical School. The solution is breathtakingly simple, and it does not cost a single penny. You do not need medication for this. All you need to do is elevate your legs above the level of your heart for exactly 45 minutes in the late afternoon or early evening. You can lie on the couch and prop your feet up on some pillows while you read or watch television. This simple action allows gravity to drain the fluid from your legs while you are still awake. Your kidneys will process the liquid, you will use the bathroom before bedtime, and your bladder will be completely empty when your head hits the pillow. It is a profound feeling to finally take control back from your own body. Now, you might be thinking that controlling your water, watching your salt, and elevating your legs is enough to solve the problem. For many of you, implementing those strategies will be a complete game changer. But I want to share something from my own clinical experience, a piece of the puzzle that almost every doctor misses. Let me introduce you to Margaret. Margaret was a lively 74-year-old woman from a small town in Yorkshire. She did everything right. She stopped drinking fluids at 6 in the evening. She cut out salty soups. She elevated her legs religiously. Yet, she was still waking up at 2 in the morning, shivering, frustrated, and feeling completely defeated. When Margaret told me she felt physically cold every time she woke up, a light bulb went off in my head. We discovered an invisible enemy hiding right in her bedroom. It is a biological phenomenon called cold diuresis. Let me explain how this works in simple terms, because understanding this can truly change your life. As we age, our body struggles to regulate its internal temperature as efficiently as it used to. When you sleep in a room that is slightly too cold, or if your feet get cold during the night, your blood vessels constrict. Your body does this automatically to pull warm blood away from your skin and keep your vital organs warm. But here is the catch. This sudden constriction increases your blood pressure. And how does your body respond to a sudden spike in blood pressure? It sends an emergency signal to your kidneys to pull water out of your bloodstream to lower the pressure. The result is a rapidly filling bladder and a sudden, urgent need to visit the bathroom in the freezing dark. Margaret was inadvertently forcing her kidneys to produce urine simply because she slept with a fan on and her feet outside the blanket. The fix for Margaret was incredibly simple and cost absolutely nothing. I told her to wear a pair of loose, warm socks to bed and to adjust her thermostat up by just 2 degrees. The transformation was miraculous. By simply keeping her extremities warm, her blood vessels stayed relaxed, her blood pressure remained stable, and her kidneys slept right alongside her. She finally experienced the deep, restorative sleep she had been missing for years. This is exactly what I mean when I say we must work with our biology, not against it. I remember early in my career watching older patients being prescribed heavy medications for overactive bladders. These pills often cause severe dry mouth, constipation, and terrible dizziness. I realized we were treating these wonderful, wise people like broken machines instead of human beings with changing biological needs. When you rely on pills, you are just masking the signal. When you change your daily habits, you are fixing the root cause. I have seen the deep fear in my patients' eyes. The silent fear of slipping and falling in the dark hallway. The fear of waking up exhausted, unable to remember simple things because their brain never reached the deep sleep phase. I want you to know that the morning brain fog you might be experiencing is not necessarily your mind failing you. Most of the time, it is just pure chronic exhaustion from a fragmented night. You do not have to live like that anymore. This journey is about reclaiming your dignity. It is about waking up with a vibrant energy to play with your grandchildren, to travel, and to enjoy your golden years without constantly scanning every room for the nearest restroom. You have the power to change this tonight. You now know the 3 pillars of natural bladder control. Front-loading your hydration in the morning, eliminating hidden evening sodium, and preventing cold diuresis by keeping your body comfortably warm. But there is one final crucial element. It is the exact step-by-step evening routine that ties all of these biological tricks together into a foolproof, relaxing system. This is the exact routine that has helped thousands of my patients finally say goodbye to nighttime waking forever. Knowing these biological triggers is only half the battle. When I first started sharing these 3 secrets, hydration timing, sodium reduction, and leg elevation, I noticed something frustrating. Some patients were still failing. I could see the disappointment in their eyes when they returned to my clinic. They would say, "I tried it all, but I am still waking up at 3 in the morning." I realized that having the right tools does not work if you do not assemble them in the correct order. Let me share the story of William, a 68-year-old former mechanic from Ohio. William was a meticulous man. He tried elevating his legs, he wore warm socks, and he stopped drinking water at night. But he was doing them randomly. He would eat a salty dinner at 8, elevate his legs at 9, and go to bed at 10. He was still waking up 3 times a night, feeling utterly defeated. He looked at me and said, "Maybe my body is just past the point of no return. That breaks my heart because it is a lie we tell ourselves as we age. Your body is not broken. It is just waiting for the right rhythm." According to chronobiology research from the Cleveland Clinic, our bodies thrive on predictable, synchronized routines. So, I worked with William to create what I now call the Golden Evening Protocol. It is a specific sequence that aligns perfectly with your aging biology. Here is exactly how William turned his frustrating nights into 7 hours of uninterrupted, blissful sleep. At 5 in the afternoon, William drinks his last full glass of water. This is the hard cutoff. From this point on, if his mouth feels dry, he is only allowed small sips, or what I call mouth wetting, not drinking. Then, between 6 and 6:45, while he watches the evening news, he does his leg elevation. He lies on the couch, propping his feet above his heart. This is crucial because it drains the pooled fluid from his legs back into his bloodstream while his kidneys are still awake and active. At 7 o'clock, he has his dinner, but the rule here is strict. It must be a low-sodium meal. No canned foods, no processed meats, just fresh, whole foods. Because he elevated his legs beforehand, his kidneys process that fluid, and he easily uses the bathroom right after dinner, emptying his bladder completely. Finally, at 8:30, an hour before bed, he puts on a pair of warm, breathable socks and turns his bedroom thermostat up just 1 or 2 degrees to prevent that sudden blood pressure spike from cold diuresis. When William synchronized these habits, the change was profound. He stopped fighting his biology and started guiding it. He came back to my office a month later, and he looked 10 years younger. The dark circles were gone. His mind was sharp again. He told me, "I finally feel like I have my independence back. That is the true blessing of understanding your own body. But there is one final silent trap. Even if you follow William's exact evening routine, there is a common morning habit. Something almost every single one of us does within 5 minutes of waking up that can completely sabotage your bladder capacity for the following night. You might be doing it every day without realizing it. That silent trap I mentioned is something I see almost every single morning. You wake up, your feet hit the floor, and you head straight for the kitchen to brew your first cup of coffee or tea. It feels like the most natural, comforting way to start your day. But if you do this before drinking pure water, you are setting off a chain reaction of inflammation that will absolutely wake you up at 2 in the morning. Let me tell you about Martha. She is a 71-year-old retired nurse living in Seattle. Martha had adopted the entire golden evening protocol. She elevated her legs, she cut her evening sodium, and she stopped drinking fluids by 5 in the afternoon. Yet her bladder still felt completely out of control during the night. She was exhausted and ready to give up. When we looked at her morning routine, we found the missing link. Martha loved her dark roast coffee. She would drink 2 cups on an empty, dehydrated stomach every single morning. According to researchers at the Stanford University Medical Center, when you sleep, your body naturally becomes dehydrated, and your urine becomes highly concentrated and highly acidic. If the very first thing you put into your body is a strong caffeine source, which is a powerful diuretic and an acidic irritant, it acts almost like liquid sandpaper on the sensitive lining of your aging bladder. This chronic daily irritation causes the bladder wall to become inflamed and hyperactive over time. An inflamed bladder cannot stretch properly to hold fluids at night. It will spasm and send panic signals to your brain, demanding to be emptied even when it is only a quarter full. The fix for Martha was what we call the hydration foundation. I asked her to delay her morning coffee by just 30 minutes. Instead, the moment she woke up, she drank 16 ounces of room temperature water with just a tiny pinch of natural mineral salt. The pure water instantly diluted the concentrated acid in her bladder, and the trace minerals helped her cells absorb the hydration immediately. By doing this, she was soothing her bladder lining instead of burning it. I know it is hard to change a lifelong morning routine. Coffee is a deeply comforting ritual. But when Martha made this one small change, the microscopic inflammation in her bladder finally healed. Within 3 weeks, her bladder capacity expanded naturally. She stopped having sudden bladder spasms. For the first time in a decade, she slept a full 8 hours. She came into my office with tears in her eyes, telling me she finally had the energy to join a local gardening club. That is the power of giving your body exactly what it biologically needs. We have covered so much groundbreaking ground today. From the morning flush to the evening taper, from the dangers of hidden sodium to the incredible power of simply elevating your legs and keeping your feet warm. You now possess a comprehensive, zero-cost biological blueprint to stop nighttime urination from ruining your golden years. You do not have to accept chronic exhaustion as your new normal. You have the tools to reclaim your restful nights and your vibrant, energetic days. But knowing these steps and making them a permanent part of your life are 2 very different things. The reason most people fail to see results is not because the science is wrong, but because they try to change everything in one single day and their nervous system naturally rebels. There is a very specific, stress-free psychological method to ease your aging body into this new rhythm without feeling overwhelmed or deprived. If you want to know exactly how to implement this blueprint starting tonight, you need to understand the final step. Now here's the harsh reality. You can try doing all of these steps tonight. You can stop drinking water at 5, elevate your legs, and eat a low-sodium dinner. But if you do it all at once, driven by frustration and desperation, your body might resist. You might feel overly thirsty, or you might find yourself lying in bed, your legs elevated, feeling more stressed than relaxed. This is the biggest mistake I see. We approach our bodies like machines that need immediate fixing, rather than biological systems that require gentle recalibration. Let me tell you about Thomas, a 77-year-old retired pilot from Dublin. Thomas heard about my golden evening protocol and decided to implement it all on a Monday. He cut his water off drastically, ate a completely unseasoned dinner, and put on the thickest socks he owned. He woke up at 2 a.m. feeling hot, irritable, and incredibly thirsty. He abandoned the whole protocol the very next day, telling me it was a bunch of nonsense. Thomas failed because he tried to force a new rhythm onto a body that had been accustomed to decades of a different routine. This is where the psychological game comes into play. According to behavioral science research from University College London, the most sustainable changes in aging adults are those introduced incrementally. We must respect the established habits of our nervous system. So, I introduced Thomas to the 1-degree shift method. Here is exactly how you are going to implement this blueprint starting tonight. Week 1 is simply about awareness and slight adjustment. Do not change your dinner. Do not worry about the socks yet. Just focus on your hydration. For the first 7 days, I want you to move your final large glass of water back by just 1 hour. If you usually drink water at 8, move it to 7. Let your body adjust to this new timing. You will notice a slight improvement in your nighttime waking, and this small win will give you the psychological momentum to continue. Week 2 is when we introduce gravity. Keep the hydration cutoff at 7, and now add 20 minutes of leg elevation before dinner. Not 45 minutes, just 20. Use this time to read or listen to a podcast. Make it a relaxing ritual, not a medical chore. By the end of week 2, Thomas reported that he only woke up twice a night, and he felt significantly more rested during the day. The brain fog was beginning to lift. Week 3 is the salt shift. You have already adjusted your water and gravity. Now, look at your evening meal. You do not have to eat bland food. Simply swap out one high-sodium item. If you usually have canned soup, try a fresh vegetable broth. If you use soy sauce, try lemon juice and herbs. By week 3, your kidneys are no longer fighting a sodium overload while you sleep. Finally, in week 4, you bring in the thermal control. You put on those breathable warm socks and adjust the thermostat. By this point, your body is fully prepared. It is not a shock. It is a gentle transition into a synchronized, healthy rhythm. This is how Thomas finally achieved what he thought was impossible. He went from waking up 4 times a night to sleeping a solid 7 hours. He told me he felt like a new man, ready to travel with his wife again. You see, stopping nighttime urination is not just about having the right information. It is about applying that information with patience and self-compassion. Your body has carried you through 50, 60, or 70 years of life. It deserves to be guided, not forced. It is time to stop letting your bladder dictate your life. It is time to take back your golden years, to wake up with energy, clarity, and the freedom to live exactly how you want. If you are ready to make the 1-degree shift and start your journey towards uninterrupted sleep tonight, I want you to do 2 things right now. First, leave a comment below saying, "I am ready for a full night's sleep." Second, share this video with a friend or a spouse who is also struggling with this invisible exhaustion. They need to hear this message of hope just as much as you do. Thank you for trusting me with your time and your health. Remember, true healing is a journey, and I am honored to be on it with you. Do not forget to subscribe so you never miss another piece of the puzzle. Have a wonderful, restful night.